Hello, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, along with Paul Morrow, Kennedy, Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. 5 o'clock in New York City on a Friday, and this is The Five. Well, the shutdown pain is going sky high. American travelers getting rocked as cuts to air traffic really dig in, and they will be carried out in increments. Today, it's a 4% cut across the board. It'll jump to 6% of all air traffic that will be shut down by Tuesday, 8% by Thursday, 10% by next Friday. Secretary Duffy warning late today that it could go to 20% in the coming weeks. So President Trump unloading on Democrats for not cutting a deal. Watch.
We have a shutdown, as you probably know, because the Democrats have gone, they're crazy. They're crazy. But they don't care if they hurt the country. Who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with NBC News, sir.
Fake news. NBC. You're fake news. What a NBC's gone down the tubes along with most of the rest of them. Americans have voted 14 times to open up the country, and the Democrats have voted 14 times to hurt the country, really.
I mean, you can hear it all right there. The president has run out of patience with this after 38 days. Then Chuck Schumer came to the Senate floor, to the podium, and suggested a one-year extension of the Obamacare subsidies to end the shutdown. I mean, originally they wanted to go through January, but his olive branch is let's do it for a whole another year. And according to Axios, emboldened Democrats after Tuesday night are pushing to keep this thing going. They think this is working for them, and they want it to go on longer. Democrats Senator Chris Murphy, gave the game away. He is worried about his party's brand. Watch this.
There will be some pretty substantial damage done to a Democratic brand that has been rehabilitated if, on the heels of an election in which the people told us to keep fighting, we immediately stop fighting. I worry that it will be hard to sort of get them back up off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle.
All right, let's talk about this. Really, what they're looking for is a Band-Aid, Paul Morrow, of mediocrity, of the healthcare fund and Obamacare, right? That people have gotten so beaten down and just used to it. Yeah. And they expanded it during COVID, and that was supposed to go away. But of course, nothing ever goes away once it's been handed out. What do you think about where President Trump is on this now?
So obviously he is dug in as well, and the Democrats are worried about branding here, and we've heard them talk about leverage, right? We've got this leverage now, we're going to use it, which is something that nobody wants to hear. Look, I think in terms of the air traffic controllers, there's a few jobs out there where there's not a lot of wiggle room, right? You don't have a lot of large room for error, right? You got, let's say, heart surgeon, cops, firefighters. Air traffic controllers.
Talk show hosts
have plenty of leeway. You're living proof. The bottom line is this. You don't want FAA guys looking at their phones worrying about their mortgages. So we do have to get this solved. But this is a procedural thing, and we should remember that. And I'm going to steal something from DeRoy Murdoch because he is so sharp on this, and he makes this point. Why are we allowing them to have a silent filibuster? You're supposed to stand up there and talk, and we're letting them not do it. This is a silent filibuster. As the majority, you can force a filibuster that's talking, a talking filibuster, they call it, with a slight rule change. You can make them do it. Here's why that matters. Because they can't hand it off. You're going to get one person who's exhausted, right? Now, you're not going to be able to get the vote at that point, so then somebody else has to take over. They'd have to go through everybody. It would create the theater that's missing here because the average person doesn't understand that it's the Democrats who are saying, we have leverage, we're just not going to shut it down. And let's remember something else. If you cycle through all the Dem senators, ultimately you're going to get 84-year-old Bernie Sanders trying to speak for 14, 15 hours. You're going to get Angus King, who's 81. Now, he's an independent, but he caucuses with them. My point is this. Make them do it. Make them suffer. Right now, it's all being done in a very anodyne way off stage. And as a result, they're getting away with it.
Kennedy, obviously, President Trump wants to end the filibuster. It's a pretty complicated set of rules that would allow Republicans to end the filibuster. But he's saying, look, Democrats are going to do this eventually to us if they regain power in the Senate. It's a Senate issue. So just do it now. And he's reeling off the list of all the things that could get done if they do that. What do you think?
I am not a fan of that. I do think that there should be some decorum and expectation within the Senate. It is supposed to be the upper chamber, but they are acting like they're swilling whatever is left over in a chamber pot. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting the way they are comporting themselves. And I worry that if you do get rid of the filibuster, I mean, that is the mechanism that is supposed to invite compromise and conversation, and people who may only be able to create a coalition around certain ideas, still reaching across the aisle, and then being able to go back to their respective caucuses and sell the ideas that will put the American people in a better position. And, you know, Tammy Duckworth talks about we have to take care of our federal workers. It's like, do you think that prolonging this strike, you know, it's like, we'll be at 40 days on Sunday. Is that taking care of federal workers? You know, why not take care of Americans who can't get things like SBA loans? And, you know, my brother is in town from Portland, Oregon. He's worried he's not going to get a flight on Sunday because we're going to go down 2 percentage points in terms of available flights by the time he has to leave. And the timing is curious because we're creeping up on Thanksgiving, and that's the big worry that people have. We are so divided in this country. The one holiday we have is Thanksgiving to try and bring people together, and there are people who are terrified. They're not even going to have that moment to mend their own familial fence, and they're just going to be malingering in this pain for eternity.
Jesse, it feels like, and you know, Chris Murphy often says the quiet part out loud, but it feels like Democrats are feeling emboldened after Tuesday night. And they're like, this is working for us. Let's just stick to it and keep fighting for this extension of Obamacare, which I pointed out earlier, really has not worked all that well. Even Democrats admit it hasn't worked that well.
That's not what I'm hearing, Martha.
What are you hearing,
My sources in the
Jesse?
Senate are saying the opposite. My sources in the Senate are saying the moderate Democrats are about to cave. They need 5 more. They already have 3, and they're starting to get nervous. If you don't have military getting paid, if you don't have air traffic control, if you don't have your own Senate staffer who's 22 years old making 40 grand a year, he's not getting paid, she's not getting paid, they're under a lot of pressure. And so the Republican strategy is now hold the line. They can't cave. Because what happens if they cave and give them all these Obamacare goodies? They're going to come back next year, and they're going to hit them up for twice as much. It sets a terrible precedent, and I know that there's no one in the Senate that's going to back off of what the stance is already there. Bernie is going to need a chamber pot for 14 hours of speaking. I didn't even know this was an option. Senator Thune, I hope, is watching this show because you got to make these guys speak and got to make them not have bathroom breaks. A lot of people in this country don't even know there's a government shutdown. They're going to find out when they don't get food stamps or when they go to the airport and it's total chaos. But a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people don't care. But if Mellon, this billionaire, ponied up what was it, $130 million to pay the soldiers during the shutdown? I would like to see some other billionaires step up and maybe get these air traffic controllers a bridge so they can get paid until the next CR gets voted on. Did I just say CR?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I went the whole shutdown without saying CR.
Yeah.
God, that means it's over. You got to open it back up.
Well, air traffic controllers make like a staffer $45,000 a year. And so these people are in a tough situation. Where do you think this is going, Greg?
Well, my sources say this is a boring topic. Look, go shut down, keep it going. What a great excuse to skip Thanksgiving. There are a lot of people that are right now going, I don't have to fly. I can't make it. We know who you are because I'm one of them. I got a baby. I don't want to fly across country. Look, out of 45,000 flights a day, you're talking today, it was like 900. It's not a big problem. And in fact, I have to say, how can you tell? Flying sucks. I mean, flying sucks for everybody but politicians. Your flight can get delayed or canceled for a million different reasons. This is just one more variable. It's still like, what, 2% right now? Bottom line, we've dealt with hassles for 30 years. The FAA has always been a mess. It just so happens, Democrats and Republicans alike, they don't have to worry about it because, let's face it, people handle their travel. And if they get bumped, they just go on the next flight, or they fly private, or they fly business or first class. But it's never been an issue. The same way public education is never an issue for them. Immigration isn't an issue because they're not going to lose their jobs to illegal labor. They don't worry about crime because they got security. Flights taken care of. I haven't seen an industry go downhill like this. I mean, think about how fast our computers get every year and how much slower travel is. It's insane. It's the only thing that hasn't kept up with progress. And it's because people have found a way around it. People don't trust Democrats. And you mentioned this earlier, that temporary is an on-ramp to permanent. And a subsidy that should expire will then become a necessity. A one-year extension must be renewed every single year, like Jesse's Hair Club for Men membership. Democrats will say, as Zoran says, that government can solve every problem. Therefore, it can only expand. And anytime you try to reduce its size, somebody's going to die. And remember, you will kill people if you try to shrink government. That's always been their mantra. It's a game of chicken. The Dems picked the wrong bird to play chicken with. Trump's solution to stuff like this is to always go harder. They asked Trump, is ICE going too far? They haven't gone far enough. That's his answer. They're playing chicken. Trump's looking at it as the running of the bulls, and he's the bull.
Maybe Congress should pool their resources. There's plenty of wealthy members of Congress, and they should pay the air traffic controllers until it's over.
Pelosi, they're still getting paid. They voted to not take the pay cut along with the rest of the people they're taking checks away from.
Some of them individually have passed up on their paycheck. But anyway, they should cover the air traffic controllers, $45,000. All right, so coming up next, it was an amazing night. Fox Nation honoring America's unsung heroes at the Patriot Awards.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.